We're taking a bit of a change of pace, and some of you may be confused as what's going on. We've hopped series, so we did not cast the first 6 games in this best of 9, but it's still a best of 9, and this is the qualifiers for Season 3 of the Acer Team Story Cup. This is Team Vega versus Team Bounty Hunters. Spawning here in the lower left corner of the map, having just taken out Hyun, and evening up the score for his team 3-3, ladies and gentlemen, JonnyREcco.
In the top left, as the red Protoss, it is MC.
Bastos. Actually, I'm kind of excited. This is, I think, the very first time I'm pretty sure it's the very first time I've ever actually cast MC live, so I'm kind of got like the goosebumps going. Again, the Acer Team Story Cup it's all about the team league guys, and there's been some commotion, some kerfuffles about like what constitutes a team, and Bounty Hunters was approved well before. Like, this wasn't some team that was introduced at the last minute. I think their full roster was what's bringing up a lot of the points of contention. I don't know who's played, I don't know who's left. That's the downside to having just joined this series. But we do know Hyun's out for now. He's a player who did play, well, this is the Resurrection rule, of course, for Ace Match, or Last Point, but he did play a lot of Acer Team Story Cup Season 2, so I'm sure it's not the last we'll see of Hyun. Not by a long shot.
Hyun died, Mage died, and first, no. Who's that term? Yoda. Yoda died.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for being the brains in the operation here.
I have all the streams up on my second monitor, and I glance every once in a while.
Oh, I'm jealous. I can't do that because if I do, it lags out like the actual upload from my stream. Totally sucks. Being the guy who has to stream with XSplit. But as you find yourself on Alter Zeme, and JonnyREcco's actually playing kind of greedy. You don't see a lot of people actually do this on Alter Zeme because it's more, you know, you got to be worried about that Protoss player, regardless of who it is. Whether it's Arthur, whether it's MC, whether it's cheesy or not, the reality is, this is a map that can end very quickly if you're underprepared for it. It might be big, it might seem safe, but it's not always the case.
Well, if you get a forge on this map, your forge fast expand looks really weird. You can still do it to counter something like this, get the forge in the main. It's certainly, you know, a strategy on other maps. You just, you know, your wall off would look a lot weirder because your natural isn't out of ramp, not the one they have to defend anyways. So that's why we usually see the gateway expand like this, like what MC is doing. And unfortunately, that means he won't be able to pressure this 3 base until it's already, you know, made its use.
You know, one of the things here too, I think a lot of people, like even just glancing at chat real quick at the announcement of this series, of course we're operating on delay and all that, is people see JonnyREcco as the underdog in the series, but I need to remind you guys, JonnyREcco's been taking out Koreans a lot lately in the Go for StarCraft Cups, and I know there's like some real like mentality shifts when it goes from a weekly cup to something big like the Acer Team Story Cup qualifiers, but JonnyREcco's a really talented player, and while MC is certainly not the player he once upon a time, he's still really good. The reality is though, I kind of view this as a somewhat even matchup.
Well, he just took out Hyun. I didn't actually see the beginning of the game, but I saw like the mid to end, and it just seemed like, no, it seemed like he had an advantage early on somehow. Actually, I take that back. But anyways, the point is that he can definitely do that. He can get an advantage early on by shutting down MC's aggression, by getting some lings in there, or just denying the third, and definitely, you know, that'd be really, really good for JonnyREcco. It could be that his EVZ is just really strong right now. I don't know. Unfortunately, the last time I remember really watching JonnyREcco was back when he was getting popular to begin with, back when WCS was, you know, not what it is now. It was like a side tournament, whatever.
I'm surprised to see the 2 zealots actually with this, because normally it's 1 zealot, 1 stalker, 1 mothership core for this push in the poke, but 3 queens, as long as they focus on the mothership core and don't get too obsessed with the stalker, this should be okay. He will lose one of the queens to these zealots, which is a little unfortunate. Now the other one's off creep as well. Ooh, JonnyREcco's got to be careful of this control here. He's got some more lings on the way, but metabolic boost is so far from happening.
Remember, it's very important that he's taking down queens. 1 queen so far, could get a second one if he goes off of creeping in to chase that mothership core, because he'd start following up with the Stargate. And if he goes for oracles, for instance, that'll be, you know, nice. But even just phoenixes, that'd be nice too. And actually get the second stalker in here. So actually putting a lot more into this aggression than normal people would. Usually it's 1 stalker and 1 zealot.
Oh, that queen. Okay, good transfuse out of JonnyREcco. Again, this is a big problem too. Like, if you had that creep spread from the main to the natural, This wouldn't be like that slow crawl for these queens to get in the front lines, but he takes out the zealots, which are really the big threat of this. Stalkers are going to be a nuisance for sure, but they're not nearly as strong or as scary as those zealots are.
He's getting so many queens. So many queens. It's going to be really good because, well, MC's getting Void Rays.
These, yeah, it's been interesting. For those who don't know, queens are actually technically better at dealing with Void Rays. Not only do they naturally outrange the Void Ray by 1 anyways, but transfuses. Transfuses beat Void Rays in a big way.
Yeah, so it won't happen. There won't be any aggression, you know, soon where we see queens versus Void Rays, but you know, in the mid game, you can go for like Ling Hydra attacks and bring the queens as well. It's especially if it's like a map where you can get creep somewhat decent to your opponent's base. And these positions, he could probably get, you know, maybe halfway if he really, really tried. Especially as he has so many queens. Look at that. I want to call him Minchel now that he has his name like that, but MC is getting this third up nice and quick. I don't think JonnyREcco's gonna be able to do anything about it. Maybe get an earlier fourth in reaction.
It still links to being kind of sacrificed, but they confirm the existence of the Void Ray, which I find kind of critical. It's gonna make him feel first of all a lot better about having all these queens out, but
well,
I mean, it's not like he got the Overlord in there to see that the Stargate was. I mean, he saw the Stargate, but actually, oh, he did see it was a Void Ray. I take that back. I always forget you can do that when you zoom in.
Yeah, so I mean, technically, you know, to save you, you could assume they could change their mind, you know, go to Phoenixes instead. Want to make sure. But yeah, he knew it was Void Rays, and the Lings must have just been. He wasn't looking actually, probably, but a lot of Lings are on the way. Speed is about to finish, and he's getting +1/+1 for his Lings. He could try and deny this third. Void Rays don't kill Lings that fast.
You know, it's weird too, because Void Rays are not your typical opener in this matchup, but they are pretty darn good early on. Especially if you're expecting roaches to come your way, or, like you said, you know, they'll kill Lings, but kind of one of those eventually scenarios. But between an overcharge, the cannon, and the Void Rays, plus a good force filter too, I mean, MC's pretty safe against any sort of Ling aggression right now.
Yeah, I actually really don't like it if he did. I mean, maybe he'll prove me wrong and actually do a lot of damage, but the Sim City around the third means that he's not gonna be able to snipe it, you know, just go, you know, all in on the Nexus. So I guess this is just gonna be used defensively for now. He's at a good drone count, 71. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's still pretty good. Of course, he got that 3 hatch up really, really fast. And he's actually going into Infestors. What is it gonna be for? Is he gonna go into actually a hive for Ultralisk? That'd be something interesting.
I like that JonnyREcco's making use of the extra queens, by the way. Look at that creep spread. Holy moly.
I would hope so.
Yeah, well, it's hard enough to spread creep on Ultra Zine, but I mean, it's critical too. And I look at this creep spread, and the only thing I think about is like back in Wings of Liberty, where like Zerg didn't even spread creep versus Protoss, period.
Oh, yeah. Infestation Pit did finish. I really want to see what he's going to do with it. Okay, Infestors.
I like this. Like for MC, the point, guys, is you're trying to snipe a base and then recall out, but he's not going to be able to do that with the queens here. A little unfortunate in that regard.
I think he actually could if he just targeted the hatch rather than take on the queens.
But then the Mothership Core get focused. I mean, it's already almost dead.
You can also move the Mothership Core fast enough away from those slow-ass queens.
That's
yeah, he's going to do it anyways. There you go.
Transfuse. 1, 2, 3.
Yes!
Oh, doesn't quite get it.
Yeah.
So good snipe there out of MC, and he doesn't really need to recall. This is the best part too. You just walk around, float towards the natural, maybe get that base too. I mean, there's a Spore Crawler here, but 3 prismatically aligned Void Rays will make mincemeat out of a single Spore Crawler.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. A lot of Lings actually do not go for the third. They come back.
That's a lot of Infestors too. 8 about to pop.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, Infestors obviously will stop the Void Rays from moving and maybe from killing the hatch, but they don't kill them that fast.
I think the Infestors are more critical for those sentries. Getting some fungals down on that
yeah,
is going to
sure.
be a bigger steal, but Transfuse keeps a couple more hits off on his Spore Crawler, so the Queen going to go down by the looks of it.
Yeah, and maybe the hatch as well. Infestors need to come out and fungal spam. Infested Terran spam.
There we go. Good fungal growth. Gets the Mothership Core on top of this, so no recall out of this. Looks like
he's wasting so many fungals, though. 4 fungals to take down these Void Rays. He needs to deal with the army that's in front of him right now.
I kind of wish he had used on like Infested Terrans instead or something, but coming on the front lines, cleaning up a lot of this creep, or not cleaning up the creep yet, but still just pushing forward and picking off Overlords. Wow, this creep is critical. Being able to see this army, this is huge. Know exactly where this is. It's going to allow us Lings to position. It's going to allow him to make sure he comes in from the right angle, get those fungals off as necessary. Spine Guard is being repositioned on the front lines, and looks like the Void Rays were cleaned up while this was going on. MC playing comfortably off of 3 bases, but I mean, he's got this big army, but none of this is good at dealing with Ultralisks.
Yeah, and that is going to be the tech of choice, so...
I actually really like the Ultras too. That's going to crush force fields.
Both players really brought back some old school, or older rather, not really that old, but you know, like months ago, Heart of the Swarm, you know, opening up with Void Rays and going for these relatively, or actually, you know, pretty fast Ultralisk. Something they were doing back a few GMX ago, but it looks like MC has scouted with that Hallucinated Phoenix because he is getting double Immortal production, or at least double Robo for now.
Yeah.
He's getting an Observer, which is desperately needed. Attack is going on, though.
Good Fungals hold the army in place. So many force fields go around this, though. The links can't quite connect. The sentries are going to go down to that Fungal Fire with no more force fields. There's nothing to protect from these Zerglings. Although a lot of them did die, there's still plenty more behind us, and the Queen's even still getting involved with the fight. But the Zealot's pushing forward, and he needs a couple more Fungals. But these Infestors are pretty much dry. Now, the nice thing is there's no Observer. He can burrow all of these units if he needs to save them. That's a small consolation at this point. Transfusing on top of the Infestors, too. Another good Fungal gets hit off, but 4 Ultralisks are on the way, guys, and 4 Ultralisks should be able to clean up this army. The problem is he's bleeding out these Infestors, and JonnyREcco has Burrow. He's just being very reluctant to use it for some reason.
He wants to get all the Fungals down, but I think he should have waited for the Ultras and then did the Fungals.
He just
even
lost
if
all
maybe
his
that,
Infestors.
yeah, maybe that meant losing the third anyways, but now he's probably going to lose the game. MC just pushes through.
The Ultralisks really should have been what trucks through this game, and we see them kind of just struggling here. There's no support for them. All the Zerglings died. There's no fungal growth. This is looking really grim for JonnyREcco. GG.